Greetings, Saber fans. It's your old pal Megtooth Sith. Got a really special project here for you, and this is a Graflex 2.5. And this Graflex 2.5 has been built in the Force Awakens configuration, and it's got a lot of cool stuff going on. So let's talk about what I've got happening here. Number one, some changes I've made is, of course, I've added the copper tabs on the Graflex pins on each side. I've added a flathead screw here. I've also added a flathead screw here for accuracy to hold the clamp on. Don't remove this flathead screw. It's actually functional. It keeps you from ripping out the wires in the clamp switch. I have put an actual replica glass eye in here, and you can see that I've milled it down to brass. So the knurling is gone. It's been milled down to brass, so it's a brass eye just like you see on the TFA prop, and I've actually achieved shine through. Your blade retention Allen key is right here in this little recess. This one has an ARKM razor blade plug inside the hilt. That's an ARKM razor blade plug. I'll show you that in action here in a minute. This one has red button activation. I put a flat beer tab on here. I did not put it up over the washer because I was having issues making that work, but you do have the flat beer tab. I've modified the clamp to turn, even though you shouldn't need to mess with this clamp. The only thing you should do with that clamp ever is open and close it. And I put the grips on with rivets, and these rivets have been hollowed out so sound can get through the rivets. The very back of the Saber has a blank TFA Pommel coin on there, so you don't see all the holes that are typical on a Graflex 2.5, but the kobold D-ring is secured with rivets, and those rivets are also hollowed out for sound. Those are some of the outside additions to the Saber. Now let's show the inside. The inside's where all the work's taking place. So lefty-loosey on the hilt. If you didn't see, I open the clamp and then I'm lefty-loosey on the hilt. Now go slow and gentle. You never want to cross thread these Graflexes, because if you do, they're done. They are done. So don't cross thread it. And that gets us to our chassis. Now this is a Goth3D chassis, and this is the Knight variant chassis for Graflex 2.5s, and I have utilized a real crystal on the interior of the Knight chassis, and I'm trying to get a pointer to show it to you. And this is an actually unusual crystal because it's got another crystal actually on the top of it. So on the side the bunny ears are on, there's another crystal formed on top of this crystal. This crystal is really cool. It's illuminated with a 5mm RGB common anode LED. I have accent neopixels going here in the aft end of the hilt. I've custom painted this and weathered it to make it look like it's worn, to make it look as much like metal as possible. But of course this is all plastic, minus the strengthening rods in the chassis here and here. I did leave the upper strengthening rods out to give you more ability to see the crystal chamber. This Saber is also equipped with a 2.1mm recharge port. Access to your SD card is here. Access to your USB programming port is there. Let's go ahead and power this on. We power it on by twisting the kill key until the power to the Saber comes on.
Close your eyes.
See the accent Neopixel spooling?
Feel it. The light. It's
And the crystal
always
chamber
been
pulsing?
there. It will guide you. The Saber. Take it.
I'm going to quickly cycle through each font so you can see the effects. Now, I didn't say, but this is your auxiliary button on the back of the clamp. You have power here on the front of the clamp, but you also have red button power here on the back of the clamp. When the rear of the Saber is off, these clamp card holders, you can see it kind of goes up and down. So what happens is when the rear of the hilt is off, and normally it would be seated in under this clamp switch lever holder. So when the back of the hilt's not on to hold that clamp switch up, you actually have to slide the clamp card forward to activate that clamp switch. So that's why I have to slide that clamp card forward.
Something.
There's your next preset. Got Cylon action going here. Oops. That was an accidental activation. And you have a pulsing deep sky blue crystal chamber. Pulsing deep sky blue. Next font.
I need someone to show me my place.
Now this is actually a cycle on this one. In fact, when you light it up, you should see the cycle going. And you can see it speeds up. And then when you retract the saber, you'll see these accent cycles spool down, kind of like a turbine spinning. And of course, when the saber's in idle, the crystal chamber pulses. Next preset.
The Force is with you, young Skywalker. But you are not a Jedi yet.
This is Kyberphonics ESB. Again, it has a turbine effect going in the rear Neopixels, and the crystal chamber pulses in idle.
I've been waiting for this day for a long time.
This is something unique to me. This is a pulsing on and off fire blade, of course on Kylo's, and then when you activate, you get the fire blade going in the crystal chamber, which looks really awesome. Hoping that comes out on video. That's really awesome. And then you have red accents here and here. They also have shine through in the glass eye there with the fire blade, which is pretty awesome. And by the way, I'll go ahead and show you your ARKM razor blade plug that's going to come installed in this saber. Use gesture retraction to turn it off there. We'll get to that in the instructions. Here's this is the real fire blade. I'll demonstrate that in the demonstration video.
Be careful not to choke on your
Rogue One Vader. Back to a blue Cylon. I like that blue Cylon in my DV6, so I stuck with it here. But once you activate, that blue Cylon turns red, and I believe it blade mimics as well. It does. Next preset.
Luke Skywalker.
Luke Skywalker. It goes white to green. I'll ignite here so you can see. This is running a color cycle, and it starts out white, and as it speeds up in its spool, it turns green. So there it's green. Of course, the crystal chamber pulses in idle. This is a long pulse. I think this one's around 6,000 milliseconds.
It's treason, then.
This is Senate Majority.
Kill them all.
This is another fire blade, but it's purple. I need to change this crystal chamber to purple as well.
Rey Skywalker.
This is Kyberphonics Scavenger's Destiny. This is a gold blade, and you know it's got Cylon going in the rear accents, and of course the chamber pulses in idle. And ignite the saber. That crystal is probably one of the coolest crystals I've ever put inside a lightsaber. It's awesome.
If what you've told me is true, you will have gained my trust.
This is BMF. I'm going to save that for the demonstration video. But you can see it pulses purple. Of course, it's a purple blade.
Hello there.
This is your rainbow blade to Cantina. And it does rainbow in the crystal chamber as well as in the aft accent LEDs as well as on the blade. It's all rainbow. Everything's all rainbow here. This is the Christmas blade, the Chewy Silent Night. It's got a green crystal chamber, red rear LEDs, and a candy cane blade. Red and white striped blade. And the next is the battery meter, which it indicates green is fully charged, blue is mostly charged. So I'd say this battery is probably close to 90%. We're getting ready to go out and do the demo video on this thing. But this is just an absolutely awesome lightsaber. If you stand by, we'll show you the demo video. If y'all survive watching the whole demo video, then we'll get into the button instructions on this thing. Thank you everybody for watching. May the Force be with you. Greetings Saber fans. It's your old pal Megtooth Sith. And I have here for you a TFA Graflex, tentatively for Bobby Susenbach. I'll say tentatively until the invoice gets paid that I'm sending out. But this is built for Bobby Susenbach. This is a Graflex 2.5. Has a Goth3D Knight Chassis on it. You all should have already seen that in the explanation video for the Saber. Now, this Saber has a lot of blade styles and a lot of capabilities and a lot of effects on every blade. And while I'll demonstrate those effects in the main blade, I'm not going to demonstrate them on each and every blade. Now, also, along with the massive amount of effects that are on every blade, you can also run music in every font on this Saber. There we go. I've also built a custom 7/8" blade for this lightsaber, and the blade came out awesome. Let's go. Let's show this thing in action. The first font on this saber is TFA. In fact, there's the battery meter. I'm going to advance to the next font.
Graflex TFA HD.
I'm going to ignite. So there's the saber. First off, you have blaster blocks, clash, localized lockup, which is responsive. It moves up and down the blade depending on the position you're holding the hilt. It also has lightning lockup, where it looks like you're fending off force lightning. It also has tip drag, so you point the hilt down and only the very tip of the saber changes colors. It has stab. Not only did it have stab, but it has melt. So when you stab and press power, and when you twist the saber, you get different colors with the melt, which is a pretty cool effect. Gesture retraction. Every blade, this saber has gesture activation and gesture retraction, so sometimes you won't even see me pressing the buttons. Last effect I want to show you on this blade, and then we're done showing effects, is color changing. All the blades on this saber do color changing. Press power and touch aux, and then rotate the saber hilt through the spectrum of colors. Color changing. I'm going to lock it back in on a TFA blue. And retract. Next preset. I think this is ray training. Yep, from The Last Jedi. preset. This is Ray Train again, but it is a rain blade. The background track is rain. Ignite. This is a rain blade, so it has intermittent dark spots raining on the blade. That's the only thing different about this one. Next preset. This is ESP Graflex by Kyberphonic. Background track is ESPN credits from Empire Strikes Back. 4 sound. This is one of my lightning blades. Of course, this is all smooth swing with accent swings. Next preset.
Show you the dark side.
Kylo Ren TFA, background track is Kylo. This is by Sith. Localized lockup by Fernando, as well as Force Lightning lockup, as well as everything else I showed in the first one. Next preset. I believe this is the real flame. Yep, that's the real flame blade, where when you hold it up it gets hotter, and as you point it down, the flame kind of goes down just like a real flame would, which that's pretty cool. He wanted that real flame blade on there. Next one is Rogue One Vader by Sith, and the background track for this is Rogue One scene. You're in the movie, you guys have seen this before. Localized lockup, Force Lightning lockup, stab, everything. Blaster blocks. Four sounds. Retraction. Next preset.
Skywalker.
ROTJ Skywalker, the barge scene's the background. Push him in. Luke gets the lightsaber thrown by R2, catches the lightsaber. There's Multiblast. Multiblast is another function the Saber does that I didn't show on the first blade. Next preset. This is the Senate. Watch that ignition again. Cool blade. Next one is another Kylo, but a purple fire blade.
Ray Skywalker.
That is from The Rise of Skywalker. This is the Scavenger's Destiny by Kyberphonics. It's a great font. Blasters. Lockup. Lightning. Lockup. Four sounds.
For your own good, stay out of this affair.
Bonus for you, Bobby. This is BMF. When you hear Mace Windu's voice, if you don't want anybody around to hear profanity, don't ignite this blade. But this is Shamim's BMF with smooth swings added. That's lock up. Retraction. That's your bonus.
Hello there.
This should be the rainbow blade to Cantina. Yep. There's your rainbow blade. Cantina is your background. This is your Christmas blade. Background is Silent Night with Chewie from the lyrics. Candy cane blade. I don't know if this is going to show up on camera now, but that is a candy cane blade. The crystal chamber is green and the accents are red, so this is a good Christmas blade. And the last is your battery meter. The background track on battery meter is the Mandalorian theme. This TFA Graflex is awesome.
Graflex TFA
It's got the full shine through glass eye here on the bottom, as you can see. Inside the crystal chamber is amazing. It's got the blank TFA Pommel point on it. It's got gesture ignition and retraction. I don't know what else you could want on a Saber. This puppy's got it all. So if you stick tight, we'll get to the instructional portion of the video where you can see how to operate all these features on every blade. And also there will be a button feature and instruction manual that's also included in your invoice that I'm sending you. Hey, welcome back everybody from the demo video. Now we're going to show how this lightsaber works, its basic operations. Number one, let's talk about removal of the blade plug and the addition of the blade. And I'm not going to bring a full-size blade in here, but to remove the blade, you simply put your 5/64 Allen key into this slot right here. Hopefully y'all can see that in the video. And you're going to loosen this Allen key, and I already heard the blade plug spring out. Pinch the bunny ears and point the saber down, and the blade plug will fall out. So there is your ARKM DSE razor blade plug. Of course it is backed with Neopixels. The same procedure for getting the blade back in. Pinch the bunny ears, insert your blade till it's fully seated. Now these are spring, so when you're seating your blade you have to make sure you're holding tension on that spring and the blade is fully seated. And while you're holding the blade fully seated against those springs, tighten the blade retention screw. Don't over tighten this thing. It doesn't take much force to get this to hold the blade plug in. Second, to take your hilt apart, there's two ways you can recharge this saber. The easiest way is through the pommel, and what we want to do is loosen the pommel, lefty loosey on the pommel, and out she comes. And in the back of the pommel you have your kill key, and you can take out your kill key, and right here is your charging port. Now this saber is going to come with this charger. It's a 3.7 volt lithium-ion charger. What's important to do is to plug the charger into your recharge port there, and then plug the charger into the wall. When the battery's charging, this light is red. When the battery is fully charged, this LED light turns green. When it's fully charged, remove this plug from the wall, then remove the charge port from the saber. It's important that you follow those instructions to the letter. I'm going to put the kill key back in here.
Graflex TFA HD.
Let's let you hear the boot.
Close your eyes.
Feel it. The light. It's always been there. It will guide you. The saber. Take it.
So this saber is equipped with a Goth3D chassis. Now, most people that have these sabers, what they'll do is they'll loosen the bottom of the hilt like this. And to loosen the bottom of the hilt, the first step is to loosen the clamp. Then you lefty-loosey on the bottom of the hilt, just like this. And a good way to display these crystal reveal chambers is just like this in your saber stand. That's how most people display them. Now, of course, I've added a lot of other goodies further aft. So if you want to expose more of the chamber, you can. Or you can take the back of the hilt totally off and display the saber like this. The choice is yours. But that's a good way to display the saber. An important note, of course, I already told you you have SD and USB access here. I would not mess with either the SD card or the USB port unless you know what you're doing. If you understand what you're doing with Proffie, certainly have at it. If you have never messed around with Proffie before, don't mess with this SD and with the USB port. This saber features save state, so if you don't like a color I've set, you can change the color. You can go into the color change menu, change the color to however color you want it. The crystal chamber and the blade will be whatever color you select, and then after you select the color, just turn the saber off and the saber will always ignite in that color. Always. It remembers the color you left it in. So you can change the colors on your own. Changing fonts gets a bit more complicated, but I highly suggest you enjoy the font package that we put together here. It's a good font package. This saber will give you years of use with these current font packages. There's always new features coming out on Proffie, but this saber was built with everything that's state-of-the-art as of this build. This saber is programmed with Proffie OS 4.7 with save state and idle time off. You can see that the LEDs are all going. Of course, that's using up batteries. Well, after 10 minutes, all these will shut off, and that's the idle time off feature that I've added onto this saber. A note of importance, when you're putting the hilt back on, sometimes this clamp switch button holder, sometimes you have to lift that up so the bottom of the hilt can clear. If you're ever putting the bottom of the hilt on and it's jamming right there, stop. Pull it back, lift up on that clamp switch holder, and then it should clear, and then you can thread righty-tighty, nice and gentle. If it's not threading easily, don't force it, because if you cross thread this hilt, it's done. Don't force this hilt. It should thread very easily. It should not be difficult to thread. Once you're done with the hilt, of course, you can recenter your clamp card and then close the clamp, and then that kind of solidifies the clamp card. That's the instructions there. On this saber, this does have red button activation. So this is one of your power buttons. Please do not attempt to remove this button. If you attempt to remove this button, you will shear the wires that enable this button to work. Do not remove this red button from your saber. Don't remove the glass eye. The only things you should remove are exactly what I said. Now, let's get into button press features. Number one, on this saber, the clamp card has two switches in it, one forward, one aft. This is power, this is aux, but you also have power in the red button. So either way you want to power the saber, you can either press the front of the clamp card or you can press the red button. It doesn't matter. Either works. So let's get into button features. The button features are many. Number one, to ignite the saber, you press power on the front of the clamp card. Once the saber is ignited, you have several features on the power button. The first one is if you double tap it, you get the force sound.
You're afraid that you will never be as strong as Darth Vader. You're afraid that you will never be as strong as Darth Vader.
If you double tap and hold, you get the force lightning lockup. This is the power button now, and it doesn't matter whether I do that on this power button or this one. Double tap and hold is force lightning. Just double tap is the force sound. You have to double tap and hold to get force lightning.
Strong as Darth Vader.
So now let's talk about auxiliary functions. Auxiliary is on the back of the clamp. A brief press of auxiliary gives you blaster blocks. A press and hold gives you lockup. And if the saber is level or higher, you'll get localized lockup in the center of the blade. If the saber is pointing down, you'll get tip drag. Now, this saber also is equipped with twist retraction. To get it to go twist retraction, it's a forward and backwards motion. Watch. Forward and back. That's your twist retraction. It also has stab ignition. There's twist retraction. Stab ignition. Twist retraction. I get stabbed more consistently by pulling the saber backwards quickly. That seems to work best. Now, to change to the next preset, while the saber is in idle, briefly press aux.
Something inside me has always been there, but now it's awake.
That's how you get to your next preset. To find out how many volts are left in your battery, press and hold auxiliary. Don't let go.
3.95 volts.
3.95 volts. To get a background track to play while you're messing with the saber, 2-second press on power. 1, 2. Then you can ignite the saber with the music going. Of course, clashing the saber is simply clashing the saber. Turn the music off, 2-second press on power. Oops. 1, 2. Music's off. So that is how we use the basic button functions. Now is where it's going to get complicated. There is a volume menu, volume on the fly. If the saber is too loud and you need to turn it down, 2-second press on auxiliary gets you in volume menu. 1, 2. That beep says we're in the volume menu. You want to turn the saber up, press power. It's already at full volume. Turn the saber down, press aux briefly. That's all the way down. To get out of the volume menu is a 2-second press on aux. Anytime you're hearing those beeps when you're pressing this button, you're in the volume menu. To get out of that, a 2-second press on auxiliary will get you out of it. But now the saber is reduced volume. But let's stop that and turn it all the way back up. 1, 2. Back in the volume menu. Volume up by pressing power until you hear a different beep. That's the beep that lets you know you're at full volume. 2-second press on aux, get you out of that. 1, 2. We're out of that. Ignite the saber in full volume. Now, you can ignite the saber in mute by quickly pressing, double tapping power. Maybe double tap hold. Yep, sorry, it's double tap hold. Let's try that again. So double tap and hold. There it is. That ignites the saber in mute. You still have all the blade effects, it's just there's no sound. And then we'll retract. As soon as you retract, it'll have sound again when you ignite it. Now, to get into Multiblast, you double tap aux while your blade is on. Let's try this again. time you swing the saber, you get a blast. To get out of multi-blast, double tap. No more blast. Now, the last thing we need to talk about is color changing. Color changing can be difficult trying to do it on the clamp card. It is possible, but it's more difficult. Number one, to get into color changing, ignite the saber. Now, what we want to do, and I'm hoping you can see this in frame, is we're going to press power and briefly touch aux. There we're in the color changing menu. To change colors on the saber, simply rotate the hilt, and you can see it's changing colors there in the glass eye until you get the color you want. Once you get the color you want, you're going to press power, and boom, that locks you in. The saber will remember whatever color you select, and even if you turn the saber off, the next time you go to this font, it's going to remember the color you last ran this font in, and it's going to run the font in that color. So if you don't like a shade that I've selected for any of your colors, you can go into color change and change it. So you can personalize it and make it your own. That's color changing. Now, of course, this saber does have gesture ignition and gesture retraction. Ignition is with a stab, retraction is with a twist. The most consistent way that I've gotten ignition is by pulling the saber quickly back. The twist is not just simply a twist in one direction, it's back and forth to get it turned off. Watch. Back and forth. Pull back. Back and forth. That's your gesture, ignition, and retraction. When you assemble the saber, to be accurate, what's supposed to happen is your D-ring is supposed to be opposite of the clamp. So, you know, your D-ring's down here and your clamp's up here, and that way the clamp's not rubbing on your side when you've got this D-ring hooked up to something. Now, with that being said, if you fully tighten this 2.5, the clamp is out of alignment. It's here to the side. So basically what you want to do is back that off until the top of the kobold D-ring is and this grip are centered in the clamp, and then close your clamp. That is an accurate TFA setup. So the D-ring is opposite of the clamp. You know, this saber just didn't clock exactly perfect. Not many of them that I've had ever do clock perfect. But that is the button press instructions on this lightsaber. You've seen the demo, you've seen the components in this lightsaber. This lightsaber is awesome. This lightsaber is powered by Proffie 2.2. It's been programmed on the latest operating system. It has fonts by Sith and also by Kyberphonics, Jesse Kirkbride. It also has a couple of open source sound fonts on it, and it has a couple of old fonts from Shamim that I have added smooth swings to, and I really think they match the saber well, including the first preset, which is your TFA Graflex. This is an awesome lightsaber. This lightsaber was basically a custom build that I was going to sell. One of my YouTube subscribers found out that I was going to be building this saber and messaged me that he wanted this saber before it was even built, sight unseen. Now, that deal has all been verbal. It's not set in stone yet, so should something fall through with that deal, when this video is published on the internet, the title will be for sale. I will change the title to for sale, and this saber may be for sale if that deal falls through, so keep your eyes peeled to my YouTube channel. For those of you that didn't know, it pays to subscribe to my YouTube channel. If a lot of people are interested in my sabers, I don't get a chance to build that many, but I have two. I have this saber, which is already sold, and another saber which is also tentatively sold. But the reason that they found out that I was building these is because they were my YouTube channel subscribers, and they also subscribed to my Megtooth Sabers Facebook page. So if you're not on that train already, you need to get on it. That's the best way to get hold of one of my Sabers, is to keep an eye on both my channels, because I clearly announce. I also announce what I'm doing on Megtooth Monday Live, which I try to do Monday nights around 8:30 p.m. every Monday night. You tune in and watch those videos, you know what projects I have coming, and I do have quite a lot of projects in queue that will be hopefully being built after my move coming up here at the end of this month, at the end of July of 2020. So thank you everybody for watching. This is an awesome Saber. I'm really proud of this build. It came out great. For a Graflex 2.5, this hilt is awesome. And thank you everybody for watching, and may the Force be with you, or the dark side as it were.